Thanks so much. Thank you. Okay. Is the strap broken? Or?
Yeah.
That's just too bad, isn't it? Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. That's not gonna work. Okay. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Reshatarine Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Reshatarine. Does everybody know this song, Jai Radha Madhava? Jai Radha Madhava? It's a song written by Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur. You can see him top right-hand side. Yes? Towards the ceiling. One of our great spiritual masters in our Gaudiya Vaishnava line. Jai Radha Madhava, Kunja Bihari. Lord Krishna is always sporting in the groves of Sri Vrindavan Dham, his own spiritual abode. Gopi Jana Vallabha. He is the darling beloved of the Gopi Jana. Giri Vadadari, he is the lifter of Govardhan Hill. Yashoda Ranjana, Brajajana Ranjana. He enlivens all the inhabitants of Braj and gives great pleasure to his mother, Yashoda Mai. Yamunatira Vanachari, he wanders in the forests along the bank of the river Yamuna. So this is a wonderful glorification and meditation on Lord Krishna, who is the husband of the goddess of fortune. Yes, he is Madhava, husband of the goddess of fortune. One sec, okay. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Jashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Jashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Jamuna Tiravanachari. Jamuna Tiravanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Jashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Jamuna Tiravanachari. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Ashtotara Satashi Srimad. His Divine Grace Srila Abhayachara Naravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Ashtotara Satashi Srimad. Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki. Prem Sekaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinatha Shamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki. Shri Navadvip Dham Ki. Ganga Mai Ki. Yamuna Mai Ki. Bhakti Devi Ki. Tulasi Devi Ki. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Janitai Gaura Premanandi Haribol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories unto the lotus feet of Sri Sri Guru Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Okay. So we're going to read from Bhagavad Gita, and I've been told the verse is chapter 2, text number 31. Leaving already? So this center, this ISKCON center, is meant for hearing. That's why it exists, to give people an opportunity to come here, hear about Krishna, learn something about him, be enlivened and enthused and inspired to know Krishna and love Krishna. So we want to give everyone an opportunity to hear about Krishna, and therefore we're reading from these scriptures, and Bhagavad Gita is essential. It's an essential scripture, the essence of Vedic knowledge, spoken by none other than Krishna himself. So everyone who is sat down right now in the temple room, you are fulfilling the purpose of this temple. Thank you very much. We'll go for maybe 45 minutes, let's see. Sometimes we can go longer, depending on the program, whether we have freedom to do that, and also depending on the interest of the audience. When the hearer, when the audience is very keen to know, then generally we find that a nice discussion develops, and sometimes there's questions and answers, and everyone becomes enlivened by this process. Yeah. But at least I will try to speak for half an hour on this verse. I'll try not to bore you to death. My business is simply to repeat Krishna's words, Prabhupada's teachings, and to attempt to share some personal realization of that message. And in this way, my business is to glorify the Lord and to render service. Beginning with the tongue, yeah? Atashi Krishna namadi na bhaved grahyam indriyai sevon mukhe hijivadao svayameva spuratyara. Our material senses are unable to really perceive, to grasp Krishna, who he is, his name, his form, his qualities, his pastimes. We can't see that, can't perceive it, can't understand it. So how can God be known? Sevon mukhe hijivadao svayameva spuratyara. He reveals himself to us when we begin to engage in his service. Jivadao, beginning with the tongue. So the tongue has two functions. It vibrates, right? It assists in the production of sound vibration, and it also tastes food. Two things. So we can begin to render service to Krishna by these two things. How? We can vibrate sound which glorifies the Supreme Lord. Yes, and all of us can do that. And we can also taste food that is offered to Krishna. And such food is called what? What is the name of such food? Yes. Prasadam, thank you. Okay, Krishna Prasadam, which means the Lord's mercy. Mercy of the Lord. So when food is offered to Krishna, without us taking it first, right? First of all, it's offered to the Lord. Yagya Shishtashana Shanto. Everything we eat should be offered in sacrifice, otherwise we incur sinful reaction, karma, for taking or killing our foodstuff and not acknowledging the supplier. So first of all, food should be offered to the supplier, God. And by doing so, well, Krishna says, Patram pushpampalam toyam yome bhaktya parachati taraham bhaktyupartam ashnami prayatatmanaha. If you offer me with love and devotion, a leaf, a flower, fruit, or some water, then I will accept it. But only from one who is offering it with love. So that's what Krishna wants. He wants our love. And when we seek to please him, we can offer him, anybody can offer him such simple thing as a little leaf, a flower, little grain, some chapati, some fruit, some water. Yes? So many varieties of foodstuff can be made from grains, milk, sugar, vegetables, fruits. So, we offer it to Krishna, and then if it's offered with love, Krishna happily eats that because he's a person. But he's not an ordinary person, he's not a material person, he's not confined to a material body. He doesn't have a material body, he has a spiritual body. He is Satchidananda Vigraha. His body is eternal, all spiritual, full of knowledge and full of bliss. It's imperceptible to the mundane senses. Our material eyeballs can't see Krishna. But he exists as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he eats whatever is offered to him in love. So when Krishna eats that food, yes, then that food itself becomes spiritualized. Right? We say it becomes Krishnaized. Then when we take that prasadam, our body and mind become spiritualized, sanctified, yes, purified. And because of that sanctification, purification, then we can actually begin to understand the goal of life. And Krishna, being pleased upon us, reveals himself. So 2 services performed by the tongue: glorifying Krishna and honoring Krishna prasadam. Tasty prasadam. It should be tasty. Okay. But the first and most important service is shravanam, which means hearing. Hearing about Krishna. But how can we hear about Krishna if there's no vibration to be heard? Therefore, it is essential that some vibration is produced. Yes? Then it's possible that we can hear. And very fortunately, Srila Prabhupada left us so many wonderful books. Yes? Not least of which is Bhagavad Gita, the essence. And Srila Prabhupada said, my books are recorded kirtan, recorded glorification of Krishna. And he is inviting all of us to hear in the book. Hear from him in the book with an open heart. With an open heart, submissively, humbly, willing to receive that message without a challenging spirit, but being open-minded to the idea that Srila Prabhupada knows. I do not know. I have not met God. I do not know God intimately. As far as I'm concerned, I just landed on this planet, a few years ago, trying to figure out how I got here, where I'm going. Yes? So I do not know really anything. But Krishna's devotee has come and presented knowledge of God, knowledge of the soul, and knowledge of our relationship, and where we're going. Because this material world simply means tukalayam ashashvatam, and avartino, returning, again and again. As soon as we leave this body, yes, as soon as we die, we will be we'll be forced to accept another body. We'll be forced to accept rebirth. And we will forget everything about our previous body. Who we were, what our name was, what the color of our skin was, who our wife was, what our children were called, what we did for a living, how much money we had. All of it will be forgotten. And we will get a new body to again take up a new variety of activities in the pursuit of happiness. But Krishna says that Abrahma bhuvana loka punar avartinojana, from top to bottom, from the lowest planet in this material universe to the highest, all of them are places of misery where repeated birth and death take place. So this is the story of the material world. So then, what's the good news? Right? I mean, this is rather dismal news. That accepting a material body means birth, death, old age, and disease. And as soon as I die, I have to again come back and go through the whole rigmarole once more, repeatedly. So, what's the good news? Well, the good news is, as the Lord says, Na tad basayate suryo, na shashanko na pavaka, yad gatva nanivartante tadhama paramam mama. Krishna says that besides this material creation, there is another realm, another creation. And that is known as the Paravyoma, the spiritual world. And in that spiritual world, there are innumerable planets. But these are not ordinary planets. They are called Vaikuntha Lokas. Vaikuntha Loka. Vaikuntha means where there is no anxiety, no fear, no anxiety, no problem, no threat to one's existence, no threat of old age, disease, or death. And Yad Gatva nanivartante tadama paramamama. That supreme abode of mine, Krishna says, is not illumined by the sun or the moon or by electricity or fire. It is self-luminous. Self-luminous. And yadgatva nanivartante. And when you go there, you never have to return to this world of repeated birth and death, where there is only temporary experiences of happiness and distress. And in a place where everything is temporary, how can you find permanent rest? How can you find permanent shelter? We are eternal beings, eternal living entities, eternal souls. And each of us is seeking permanent happiness. Happiness that is not threatened by loss or diminution. We want to be happy and we want to remain happy. And we want our happy to go on and on and on. Ad infinitum, forever and ever and ever. Amen. But we are existing in a realm in which everything is temporary. How can an eternal being seeking eternal happiness be happy in a place where everything is temporary? Whatever you get, you lose. And whatever you want, you have to put up with the wanting. Right? It's not like you can just click your finger and whatever you dreamed up, you can have it instantaneously. It arrives at your doorstep in an Amazon box. Yeah? It might work for a few things. A couple of gadgets. Yeah? A book. Right? Amazon does lots of stuff. But I bet you there's a few things that you can't get, even Amazon can't deliver to your doorstep. A few things you might want, and you can't even find them in Amazon. Who are you going to go to get them? Who's going to supply them? And if you find someone who can supply it to you, right? And ultimately that would be the Lord. But how long will you keep it? You cannot even keep this body. Cannot even keep it running, this machine of a body. It has to grow old. It has to perish. You have to leave it behind. So, temporary, miserable place. And therefore, if we're intelligent, if we really think it up, we will be serious about solving the problem once and for all. So Krishna is promising that if you come to me, I will free you completely from the miseries of this material world. Moksha yashami mashucha. Don't fear. Don't hesitate. Don't worry. I will liberate you from the world of birth and death. And you'll find full satisfaction with me in that spiritual world, which is reality. The material world is merely a reflection, a poor reflection of reality. We think we can be happy here because it's a nice reflection. You go to the riverside, or the lake, a nice clear lake, you'll see a tree standing by the bank. And in the reflection, if the reflection is very clear, you can see the fruits and flowers in the reflection. But if you try to take them, right, you'll just get wet. No fruit, no flower, because it's a reflection. The real fruits and flowers are in the tree, standing by the bank. So the spiritual world is real life, real variety, real relationships. And this material world is a perverted reflection. And why does it exist? It exists because we have a desire to try and enjoy minus God. We want to enjoy minus God. Therefore, God makes a place where you can try to enjoy minus God. But in the spiritual world, everything is plus God. So if you're cool with plus God, you can be happy there. But if you've got a problem with God, you can't live there. You've got to try and make it work here. But it can't work because each of us is inextricably and inexorably dependent on God, linked to God. We are little parts and parcels of God, fragmental portions of God. Amsha, mamai vamsho jiva loke. In this, everywhere in creation, there are gazillions of us, and we are tiny fragments of the Lord, and we have an eternal relationship with the Lord. And therefore, we're completely dependent on our source, on the complete whole. Yeah? This example is always given. The hand is a part of the body. If the hand wants to be a healthy, happy hand, the hand must cooperate to serve the stomach. The hand has to supply food through the mouth to the stomach. If the hand does not want to cooperate with the complete whole, then, and the hand tries to absorb the dokla, the rasgulla, yes, the sabji. If it tries to squish that foodstuff and absorb it through the palm, what will be the outcome? Yeah? You'll get what? A hand which is covered with food. Yeah. Okay? Will your body be energized by trying to eat food, by squishing it? Any energy? Will there be any energy? No energy. What's the proper pathway for supplying energy to the body? You have to put the food in the mouth. From the mouth it goes to the belly. From the belly the energy is distributed back to the hand as well. So each of us is part of the Lord, little parts of the Lord, never equal to the Lord, but eternally servant parts of the Lord. Therefore, if we cooperate with Krishna's life and his pleasure, we will be benefited, nourished, fed, complete, happy. It's that simple. So plus God means happy life. Minus God means miserable life. Because we're denying the very source of our existence and enjoyment. Yes, plus God equals happy life. Minus God, no happy life. Okay, so with that out of the way, text 31. Lord Krishna is explaining to Arjuna. Well, first of all, he has begun his instructions stating that there's a difference between the material body and the soul, the spirit soul. They're not equal. They're of two different categories. Yes? The body itself is temporary. It is destined to perish. It appears at a certain time and it disappears later on. But the soul is not like that. The soul is aja, unborn. Ajo nitya shashvato yam purano nahanyate hanyamane sharire. You can't kill the soul because the soul is eternal. It is unborn, ever existing, eternal and primeval. It is not slain when the body is slain. Okay, so first of all he tells Arjuna that you're not this body. You're in fact a spirit soul. Yes? And as a spirit soul, you have a spiritual life and spiritual responsibilities. Yes? And you should know what they are. Yeah? But he also says that while you have a material body, while you're in this material body, which is a machine made of material energy, yeah, you also have certain responsibilities, yes, based on your machine, because not everybody's machine is the same. We all have different machines, and each of our machines is capable of different things, yeah? I mean, we can all do similar things, certainly. We all have certain things in common. But some people are very good at one type of thing, other people are very good at another type of thing. Okay. So in text 31, the Lord says, Svadharmam apichaviksha navikampitum arhasi dharmyadhi yudhachtreyonyat kshatriyasya navidyate. Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, considering your specific duty as a kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles. So there is no need for hesitation. Okay. So Arjuna was a kshatriya. Does anybody know what kshatriya means? Warrior. Yes, who said that? He's gone. Okay. He's off to the warfield. So yes, Krishna says that Arjuna is a kshatriya, and kshatriya means warrior. That's his nature. That's Arjuna's nature. So let's find out a little bit more about that. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And we're here to hear. Yeah? This is service, right? Don't think that we're not performing service. By the very act of this hearing from Krishna and about Krishna from his devotee, right? We are actually rendering service to Krishna if our intention is to satisfy the Lord. Yeah? So know it. Krishna is pleased by the act of sincerely trying to understand him in order to love him. Out of the 4 orders of social administration, the second order for the matter of good administration is called kshatriya. Okay. So 4 orders means brahmana, kshatriya, vaishya, shudra. This is known as varnashram dharma. And these are 4 occupational divisions. Society, you'll find, is naturally divided like this. Some people are inclined to studying and teaching, intellectualism. Yes, they advise others. Some people are more, you could say, they're willing to get their hands dirty, or they're willing to get involved, but they're also very knowledgeable and responsible, and they like to see that everyone else is properly protected. Yes, and they're willing to go to war for the protection of their subjects. These are kshatriyas. Then you have vaishyas, who are very much concerned with production, but specifically cow protection. Cows are a very, very valuable asset to human society. So vaishyas are responsible for their care. And vaishyas are also responsible for agriculture, for producing the food that is necessary to maintain human society. And then you have the shudras, who are the servants of the vaishyas, kshatriyas, and brahmanas. They assist. Yeah? Just like in this body, I have a head where all the thinking goes on, all the plan making goes on, all the direction, all the intelligence. I have arms, shoulders and arms, by which I can protect this body. I have a belly, yes, which generates the energy for all the other parts of the body. And I have legs, yeah, which carry me from place to place, getting the work done that needs to be done. Okay? So just as in this body there's division, in the same way, in the society, in the human society, there's natural division. This division previously, in previous ages, was systematized, organized. Yes, and everybody understood their role, and there was cooperation. There was no artificial lording it over of one group. Yes? Rather, there was respect and cooperation. But in the Kali Yuga, in this particular age, then that system became corrupted, abused, yes, until finally it is now disorganized. Okay. But there needs to be an endeavor to organize ourselves like this, because that is how social harmony can happen. Yes? And this social harmony is a stepping stone, a great stepping stone for spiritual realization. Okay, so Arjuna is a kshatriya. He's a warrior. And his business is to protect the citizens, to rule, protect fairly and religiously, and to make sure that everybody is happy. That is the duty of a Kshatriya, real king. Not a coward, not a cowardly administrator, hiding behind his desk, right? Sending, young boys off to die. That's not a Kshatriya. Kshat means hurt. One who gives protection from harm is called Kshatriya. Right? Trayate means to give protection. The Kshatriyas are trained for killing in the forest. Right? So a Kshatriya who has to fight, he needs some training. Right? So what's his training? Part of his training is as follows. A Kshatriya would go into the forest and challenge a tiger face to face and fight with the tiger with his sword. When the tiger was killed, it would be offered the royal order of cremation. This system is being followed even up to the present day by the Kshatriya kings of Jaipur state. The Kshatriyas are specially trained for challenging and killing because religious violence is sometimes a necessary factor. Yeah? Therefore, Kshatriyas are never meant for accepting directly the order of sannyas or renunciation. Okay, so Kshatriyas are trained for fighting because sometimes that is necessary to protect the citizens. Yeah? Because there's always going to be some people in society who want to plunder, steal, murder, rape, yeah? Exploit, abuse, sure. You're going to get that element. If you have a very strong king, strong Kshatriya, yeah, he has to be able to meet such aggressors and remove them in order to protect the citizens. So a Kshatriya is required to be strong. Non-violence in politics may be a diplomacy, right? Sometimes, right? In order to avoid violence, there's diplomacy. Let's try to reach an agreement without going to unnecessary war. Yeah? That's great if you can do it. Unfortunately, some people are hell-bent on having a fight. Okay. So non-violence in politics may be a diplomacy, but it is never a factor or principle. In the religious law books, it is stated. Okay, we'll read the Sanskrit. Ahaveshu mito nyonyam jighamsato mahikshita yudhamana param shaktya svargam yant yaparamuka yajneshu pashavo brahman hanyante satatam dvijay samskrita kila mantrascha tepi svargam avap nuvan. Translation. In the battlefield, a king or kshatriya, while fighting another king envious of him, is eligible for achieving heavenly planets after death. Okay, this is an important statement, right? Try to follow. In the battlefield, a king or kshatriya, while fighting another king who's envious of him, is eligible for achieving heavenly planets after death. Just as the Brahmanas also attain the heavenly planets by sacrificing animals in the sacrificial fire. Okay, how was that? Brahmanas sacrifice animals? Not in this age, but in previous ages it was a done thing, yes? But it wasn't sinful. How is that possible? Okay, let's find out. Therefore, killing on the battle on the religious principle and the killing of animals in the sacrificial fire are not at all considered to be acts of violence. How? Because everyone is benefited by the religious principles involved. All right, first of all, let's take the animal sacrifice. And just remember, this is not done now. Yeah, we're not going to have an animal sacrifice after the Bhagavad Gita class. Yeah, this is in a previous time when it was possible. In the Kali Yuga, it's not possible. In the Kali Yuga, the sacrifice is the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That's the sacrifice that kills the animal of the demon in each of us that is averse to the idea of plus God. Yes? Chanting of Hare Krishna kills the demonic mentality. So, but in previous ages, the Brahmanas, they could perform a sacrifice in which an animal was ostensibly killed. Yes? But really, what happened? The animal sacrificed gets a human life immediately without undergoing the gradual evolutionary process from one form to another. Yeah? So the Brahmanas would test and demonstrate the potency of their mantra, right? In the animal sacrifice. Immediately the animal would be elevated, get human life. That was for the benefit of the soul in that animal body. Okay? But without a non-Brahmana, without that mantra, if such a person kills the animal's not getting promotion. Yeah? Rather, that's a different kind of killing. And that kind of killing is simply karma. Right? If I whimsically kill some animal to satisfy my palate because I want to eat its flesh, then I have to undergo various restrictions. I have to perform that sacrifice to a demigod, not to the Supreme Lord. And I have to whisper in the animal's ear that now I'm killing you, but in the future you will have the opportunity to kill me. Yeah? So it's discouragement. The Vedas absolutely discourage meat eating and animal killing. So this sacrifice of the Brahmana is not that. It's another sacrifice. It is meant for the benefit of everyone involved. Okay. The animal sacrifice gets a human life immediately without undergoing the gradual evolutionary process from one form to another. And the Kshatriyas killed in the battlefield also attain the heavenly planets, as do the Brahmanas who attain them by offering sacrifice. All right. So if two Kshatriyas, two warriors meet, they have a disagreement. One is envious of another. At least one of them should be attempting to uphold religious principles, protect the citizens. Yes? If he dies in that battle, he goes to heaven. Even if he's defeated, even if he's killed. It's his duty to fight for the right thing, even if he dies in the process. Okay, so the principle being brought out here, yes, is proper performance of duty according to my machine. The body is a machine. And according to the nature of this machine, I'm going to have responsibility. If my nature is a warrior, kshatriya, then my duty is to fight when necessary to protect the citizens. Yes? And to uphold religious principles. And if I die in the execution of my duty, I am even elevated. Okay, Srila Prabhupada continues, last paragraph. There are two kinds of svadharmas, specific duties, right? Sva means own. Dharma means inherent nature or duty. Okay, so when we say duty, it means that's because I have a nature. Yeah? I have a nature. A dog has a particular nature. What's its duty? To stand, to sit on the porch and bark at anybody that comes along that it imagines is a threat. Sometimes they take their duty a little far. Yeah? And the postman has to walk away with half his trousers missing or something. But the dog's dharma is to bark. Yeah? Inherent nature. Human beings aren't barking, although some like to. Yeah? You try to enter a foreign country, immediately it's bow wow, why are you here, why have you come, I'm the guard dog, go back. But everybody has a dharma based on their nature. Yeah? Dharma means inherent nature. And according to that nature, there are certain activities that Krishna in the scriptures recommends we perform. For Brahmanas, teachers, godly people, then, Shamo damastapashaucham, kshantir arjavamevacha, Gyanam vijnanamastakam, brahma karma svabhavajam. The duties, the karma, the work based on my svabhava, my own nature is peacefulness, self-control, austerity, cleanliness, honesty or simplicity, knowledge, yes, shanti, tolerance, knowledge, wisdom, religiousness, right? These are the duties of someone who's a brahmana. What are the duties of a kshatriya? Heroism, courage, resourcefulness, fearlessness, generosity. What are the duties of a vaishya? Cow protection, agriculture, trade. The duty of a shudra, service, willing service to others. Everyone has a duty based on one's machine. Okay. So there are two kinds of svadharmas, specific duties. As long as one is not liberated, one has to perform the duties of that particular body in accordance with religious principles in order to achieve liberation. All right. Anybody here feels liberated? Generally? I mean, no problems, no suffering, no birth, old age, disease, death. Anybody feels liberated? So if we're not liberated, we have certain work that Krishna recommends based on our body. When one is liberated, one's svadharma, specific duty, becomes spiritual and is not in the material bodily concept. In the bodily conception of life, there are specific duties for the brahmanas and kshatriyas, respectively, and such duties are unavoidable. Svadharma is ordained by the Lord, and this will be clarified in the 4th chapter. Okay, so the type of work that we need to do based on who I am, that is ordained, that is given by God in the scriptures. On the bodily plane, svadharma is called varnashrama dharma, or man's stepping stone for spiritual understanding. Okay? Stepping stone. So I have to know my machine, and I have to know the duties of the machine. Yeah? And perform those duties. And that is my stepping stone to spiritual realization. Human civilization begins from the stage of varnashrama dharma, or specific duties in terms of the specific modes of nature of the body obtained. So my body is the way it is, my body and mind is the way it is because of the qualities that I am associating with in this material world, okay? The modes of nature. And based on that, I have certain duties. Discharging one's specific duty in any field of action in accordance with varnashrama dharma serves to elevate one to a higher status of life. So if we follow Krishna's direction, right, for this body, for my nature, then we can be elevated by performing those activities. Yeah, we can be lifted up, purified. But bhakti yoga is such a wonderful thing, yeah? That even immediately one can connect with Krishna by the process of hearing about Him and chanting His holy names, without waiting for complete purification by one's occupational duties. Occupational duties can go on, but side by side, we can also hear and chant about Krishna. Yes? And that is the most efficacious purifying activity. So Lord Brahma he says, Jnane parasam urapasya namanta eva jivanti sanmukaritam bhavadiya vartam stane stita shutigitam tanuvang manobhir ye praya shojita jito pyasitaisti lokyam. You stay in your position, performing your own work. Whatever you are in this world, whatever is your position, whatever is your responsibility, whatever your condition of life, whether you're married, not married, have children, no children, whether you're retired, you can remain where you are. But if you want to capture God, if you want to conquer, Ajita means one who is unconquerable. Krishna is known as Ajita, unconquerable. If you want to conquer God, who is unconquerable, then just hear the words spoken by great self-realized souls, glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sanmukaritam bhavadiya vartam. Just lend your ear to the vibration of those words spoken by pure devotees of Krishna. And if you do that, even while you're in family life and you have to go to your job every day, but every day you make time for hearing about Krishna from his devotees by reading the explanation in the book written by Krishna's pure devotee. If you simply give your hearing sense and your mind to those vibrations, then you can conquer the unconquerable. Any questions? Everybody's satisfied? Anyone has any complaints? Is anything unclear? Does anybody disagree with anything that was said? Everything that was said is perfectly understandable, clear, and now we know exactly what to do and how to do it, yeah? Anybody's got anything? No? Okay, good. So now some devotees will come in about 7 minutes, I think. Prema Sankirtan will come and he will chant Hare Krishna. And this is the practical application, even more so, of the knowledge that I'm a little part and parcel of God. I can be happy by cooperating with the Lord, by serving the Lord. How can I please Krishna? Well, certainly I can hear about him from Bhagavad Gita, and I can also chant his holy names. And if I chant his holy names in the association of other devotees, then Krishna is even more especially pleased. So always, it's a good idea to take advantage of such an opportunity. If we find devotees who are like-minded and pure-hearted, and whose only business is to glorify Krishna, please Krishna, then we should be very keen to sit down with them and discuss about the Lord, hear about the Lord, and chant the Lord's holy names. Okay. So thanks so much to everybody who stayed, and have a wonderful day. All glories to Srimad Bhagavad Gita. All glories to His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Hare Krishna.